up in this bulletin, tidal waves hit coastal areas of Greater Accra. 6 private companies to compete for takeover of Electricity Company of Ghana, ECG. Hello, good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. This is News Hour, live on GBC24 and GTV. My name is Akbene Avo Ajaja.
I am Shelley, and Robert Frimpong-Manso is our sign language interpreter for tonight.
In the details, following reports of tidal waves in some coastal areas across the country, the Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture Development, Madam Sherry Aite, and some government officials have visited some of the affected communities along the coast in the Greater Accra region.
The visit was to ascertain the extent of damage caused.
Tidal waves has been a regular occurrence in many coastal communities, especially between March and September. Though residents in these communities prepare in anticipation of the waves, they are often caught off guard. This time round, more than 50 fishermen along coastal areas hit by waves lost their canoes, nets and other fishing equipment. The delegation toured Sege, Ada, Botiano, Choco and Jamestown. The coordinator for the National Disaster Management Organization, Brigadier General Francis Vip Sanziri, assured residents whose homes have been destroyed that they will be relocated temporarily until it's safe for them to return.
I've told the zonal coordinator there to get the number of people who are affected, and now we see if there is a possibility of placing them in a safe area, and we see what their requirements are. Maybe by way of beddings, mattresses, blankets, some food items, mosquito nets, to temporarily give them a shelter and give them some comfort for a few days before they clear up their areas to be able to move in.
The Minister for Fisheries and Aquaculture, Madam Sherry Aite, said the fishing tackle will be replaced for the fishermen to go back to their business.
We are going to see those affected, and the properties, we will have some replacement. Mainly also the fishing nets, also we're going to look at those whose fishing nets have been destroyed, and we will put our heads together to see whether how we can get them new ones and replace for them immediately, because we are in the fishing season.
The Kokrobite Woleache Ni Asase Aite thanked the officials for the prompt response and appealed for more support.
Meanwhile, some fisherfolk at Jamestown and Choco were putting their fishing equipment in order when the news team visited the area. They confirmed that most of their property had been washed away by the tidal waves.
At the Choco Beach, fishermen were busily mending their torn nets. Niamu, a fisherman at Choco, said they anticipate the tidal waves every year, but they are always caught unawares. He narrated his experience.
Though we are aware of these happenings, one can never tell the specific time it may come. Sometimes we see the warning signs in the morning and prepare, but this happened on our blind side around 9 p.m. By the time we got to the shores, all our equipment were gone and we could salvage only a few.
The news team saw this canoe being brought ashore, so we sought to find out why. The fishermen explained that the canoe was washed away by the tidal waves from the shores of Choco and was later found at the Kokrobite beach and had to be brought back. Most canoes and nets were not spared the wrath of the waves, and these outboard motors, about 12 in number, had their fair share of the destruction caused by the waves. Philip Lamte is a fisherman at Choco and pleaded that the Choco beach be properly managed and turned into a harbor to forestall such occurrences.
When these tidal waves comes destroying our equipment, the fishermen at Tema are spared. due to proper management and the availability of harbor. We are therefore pleading that a similar facility is done here to curb the situation.
At the Jamestown beach, some of the fishermen were salvaging the remains of their boats and nets. Though they claim they were not affected much, their major concern was that they had not been able to go to sea due to the strong tidal waves. Ni Abioche Kwanda IV is the Executive Secretary of the Ghana National Canoe Fishermen Council.
A number of canoes were destroyed. Some outboard motors were also destroyed, as well as some fishing nets. But we want to determine the full extent of the damage. So we've put up together a team which is going around at the moment. I believe they may be at what they call it, Mensangini Beach now. So maybe we can arrange later for them to come and then give you the full report so that you get a clear picture of what has actually taken place.
Miriam Madoma Koboating, GBC24, Accra.
The president of the Ghana Writers Association, Mr. Kwesi Jana-Pinting, has appealed to government to support the works of writers by buying their books to stock up libraries across the country. He said books, especially written in the local dialects, have the potential to promote and preserve our culture. Mr. Jana-Pinting was speaking at a gathering of literary artists and writers in the country, Africa and the diaspora in Accra. A report by Serafui.
I aim for the deadliest peaks so that maybe I might land on the stars.
Periodically, connoisseurs of literary arts convene to share in, critique, and appreciate each other's work. This form of art appeals to both the young and old.
Africa. They stole our riches to enrich their richless land. Nkrumah.
It's important I go into the bosom of my bosom and then get it out of my heart through my mouth so that I can speak these words of life unto you. But if it doesn't bring you life, I think that the life is still with me. So you just walk onto me. Walk onto me, then you can see that life can always come out of anything if we try not to let life come out of anything. But as the man stand up and listen to me and listen to the time I'm going to finish, I'm sure that I'm not going to finish right now. But you have to tell me that I have to walk out of this place when it means that I have finished. But if I don't finish in the same place, I'm going to make you understand that it is God's.
Prose, poetry, spoken word, short stories, and drama were displayed.
A man can only be as true as his mother tongue. A child who will live long needs no child. Mother never lied about beads. Golden black bone beads from the market of 9 moons. Mother never lied about sweet sweat and the cursing choruses of labor.
Among the guest writers were the former Minister for Commerce and Industries as well as Foreign Affairs of Liberia, Olubanke King Akurele, who has also written 4 books, 3 of which have been published. She shared her experience during the post-war. Ensuring peaceful elections come December took center stage.
It is not pleasant seeing blood. It is not pleasant seeing people being hacked, as Ghanaian troops in Rwanda saw. They came back, no psychological counseling, many of them committed suicide. You don't know this as civilians, but we do. And these are the sort of things I think our politicians need very good education on. If I had my own way, they will all go to a combat zone for a few weeks.
The youth were appealed to not to allow themselves to be used as perpetrators of violence.
These politicians are coming, what are they giving you? $5, $25 at most. And for what? For you to disrupt your environment. It's up to you to decide how your environment is going to be. Now, what do you want? You can go and firebomb somebody's house. I have no problem with that. All I ask, when you go with that firebomb, you must have before you the politician's child. And that politician's child must hold the first firebomb in his hand or her hand. Once they're in front of you, follow them. If they're not there, then why are you going?
The president of the Ghana Association of Writers, Mr. Kwesi Jana-Pinting, was elated about the youth's participation in writing but appealed to government for more support.
We have spoken a lot about the need for the state to support literature and literary effort. One way we keep on saying is that if the government could buy at least 1,000 books published in Ghana and distributed to public libraries and schools' libraries, this would be a great incentive.
He threw the challenge to his colleague writers to consider writing in the local dialects to promote learning among students. Sarah for GBC24, Accra.
In the state of the race, President John Mahama has unveiled the 10th of the Community Day Senior High Schools for Aguna Bodom in the Aguna West District of the Central Region. This is in fulfillment of a major campaign pledge by the NDC to provide immediate free education at all second cycle schools. Aguna Bodom in Aguna West District becomes the 10th to have a completed Community Day Senior High School. The community schools are located in deprived areas to encourage and provide access to secondary education. The government says there are many qualified students from junior high schools who cannot gain admission in the next year because of inadequate classrooms to accommodate them. Progressive free education started with Community Day schools, which will this year be extended to boarding students. Attached to the schools are student buses and pickup vehicles for the authorities. The chief of Aguna Bodom said the new school will curtail the extensive walk made by school children to nearby towns. President John Mahama explained government's position on the debate on free access to education.
There is a direct correlation between performance of schools and the interest of the community in the management and running of the schools. If you go to a community where the community takes an interest in the management and running of the school, you will find that the children in that school perform better than in other communities where the community does not care how the school is managed and run. These schools belong to the community. They do not belong to the Ghana Education Service. They do not belong to the teachers. They do not belong to the headmaster. They belong to the communities. And so you must take an interest in what happens in the school and how the school is run and managed so that the children can perform better in their exams.
He said if he wins a second term, all 200 of the Community Day Senior High Schools he promised will be completed. 123 of the school projects have been awarded on contract and are at different levels of construction.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be back shortly with some more stories. Do stay with us.
Welcome back. The flag bearer of the NPP, Nana Akufo-Addo, has ended his 3-day campaign tour of the Upper West region with a pledge that an NPP administration will implement the one district, one factory policy if given the nod in the December general election.
The last day of the campaign tour started at the St. Andrew's Cathedral, where Father Patrick Sekpep, the administrator of the cathedral, led worshippers to give thanks to God. Nana Addo used the occasion to explain the policies that the NPP government will implement. He told the congregation that Ghana is not poor and that the country only needs good leadership, which the NPP is ready to offer. At Bulenga, the NPP flag bearer and his entourage called on the chiefs and elders of the area and later addressed the rally. At Issa, Nana Addo introduced the parliamentary candidates for Nadoli East, Mr. Luanga, and appealed to the electorate to vote massively for the party. At Welembele, Nana Addo's running mate, Dr. Mahamudu Baumia, said the NDC government has collapsed all the social intervention programs introduced by the Kufuor administration. He promised that the NPP will revive them if voted back to power.
You have looked at Issa today. What has changed in the 8 years of the NDC? Nothing has changed. And this is why we need to change the way we are managing our economy. Under Nana Akufo-Addo, we are bringing a new policy to eradicate poverty. And in that new policy, we are going to make sure the money does not stay in Accra. We are going to make sure every constituency receives its share of the capital budget.
On their way to Tumu, some party supporters stopped the campaign team at Bugubele, compelling the flag bearer to address them. The team arrived at Tumu late in the night and were met on arrival by some party faithful who were waiting patiently for Nana Addo to address them.
It is possible with the right policies and with honest government by people who are not coming to put the money of Ghana in their pocket, but use it for the welfare of the people of Ghana. That is the government that I'm going to bring to this country.
There's more news in this package. Please stay.
Hello, good evening and welcome. It's time for some business updates. I am Dorothy Achiman. The Millennium Development Authority (MIDA) has shortlisted 6 private companies to compete for the takeover of the ECG. All 6 companies are expected to submit a proposal on how to manage the ECG to MIDA. Out of the 6, 1 would eventually be selected to manage the assets and operations of the ECG for the next 25 years. In an interview with GBC24, the Director for Communication and Outreach at MIDA, Pamela Johnson-Tete, said apart from the over $400 million grant from the Millennium Challenge Authority for the Power Compact, the concessionaire is expected to invest at least $100 million annually to improve operations of the ECG.
The decision to allow for private sector participation in the operations of the Electricity Company of Ghana (ECG) forms part of the Ghana Power Compact between the Government of Ghana and the Millennium Challenge Corporation of the United States of America. The private sector participation is expected to help transform ECG in terms of technology and efficiency in power distribution and to be more robust. Managers of the economy are of the view that an experienced private sector investor will invest more capital in the ECG and bring on board the required technical skills that will enable the company to meet the growing demand for energy. Early this year, the Millennium Development Authority, the institution mandated by the governments of Ghana and the USA to lead the process, launched the road show to select companies interested in managing the ECG. After receiving more than 60 entries, the list has been shortlisted to 6. The Director for Communication and Outreach at MIDA, Pamela Johnson-Tete, explains the criteria for selection.
We have the Manila Electric Company, and the CH Group, AMI Holdings, and Viola Water, that's a consortium. NG Energy Services, another consortium, BXC Company Ghana Limited, Zhaojeng Technology Stock Company Limited, and Jiangxi Regional Electric Power Group Company Limited, NL SPA, and the 6th one is the Tata Power Company Limited, also a consortium with CDC Group PLC. We had an evaluation panel who met, and there were several stakeholders. It wasn't MIDA alone. And that panel came out with the selected 6. They looked at their financials, they looked at their track record, they looked to see experience where they had, performed, and all that was evaluated.
1 out of the 6 companies is expected to be selected as the concessionaire to take over the operations of the ECG. According to Madame Jamson Tete, the process is stringent to ensure that a qualified concessionaire is selected.
The 498.2 million is the grant funds from MCC, which will go, bulk of it, about 350 million, will be going into ECG projects. But that is compact funds. Apart from that, the concessionaire is required to invest additional capital into ECG as a requirement over a period of time. And they are going to be monitored, you see. And that is the 100 million per annum I'm talking about over a period of 5 years, in addition to the 350 million that the compact funds will utilize in ECG project.
The Millennium Development Authority, MIDA, says the concessionaire is expected to be selected by the middle of 2017.
The Nwabieja Rural Bank in the Ashanti region made profits before tax of more than 3 million Ghana cedis during the 2015 financial year. This represents 32% increase over the 2014 figure of nearly 2.5 million Ghana cedis. The bank's net worth now stands at 12.5 million Ghana cedis as compared with the 9,720,688 Ghana cedis recorded in 2015. This was disclosed by the board chairman of Nwabieja Rural Bank, Nana Owusu Safo Anua, at the 28th annual general meeting of the bank at Barekese.
The Nwabieja Rural Bank is one of the leading banks in the country with branches across the Ashanti region. The bank's product lines include current and savings accounts, fixed deposits, money transfer, T-bills, among others. The Nwabieja Rural Bank in the last 28 years has delighted its customers with quality banking services. This has positioned the Nwabieja Rural Bank as one of the performing rural banks in the country. According to directors of the bank, this has come about due to the strategic measures put in place to propel the growth of the bank. At the 28th annual general meeting of the bank, the board chair, Nana Owusu Safo Anwana, indicated they will introduce the new products to attract more customers. He said the Nwabieja Rural Bank has completed the Adankwame Health Center for residents in the area as part of its corporate responsibility to its catchment area. Addressing the shareholders, the board chairman, Nana Owusu Safo Anwana, said the bank was able to pay a total of 771,730 Ghana cedis, translated into 0.045 pesos per share as dividend for shareholders.
Afie twa mu no 2014 no na dividend ni sikadada no cedis ahasa aduonum ana 350 OCs. Afie de no
This year the dividend has increased than that of last year. The problem is payment of the dividend leaves little money for other projects.
450 OCDs. Emu apagya yie. Na sika yeche amamu no so no. Eno so mu apagya kama. Ade a ya no se senka yete sa mfaso yi emu bi ditua dividend no a. Mfaso no nka ye ebi na yete de bo munkuro eno maman eno ho ban.
The Nwabieja Rural Bank has now introduced ATM services, including a Visa card at branches.
Back here in Accra, Ghana's Export and Import Bank, Exim Bank, is expected to be operational by the close of this year. The Exim Bank is expected to transform Ghana from an import-dependent economy to that of a large-scale exporter. The board chairman of the Ghana Export Promotion Authority, Mr. Adekoka, says the Exim Bank will also bridge the imbalances between trade and infrastructural development in the country.
I had a lot of difficulties with supporting our exporters. But with the Exim Bank, we are assured of a certain percentage from the proceeds, and that is coming directly to the GEPA, and that will empower us to ensure that we undertake a lot of activities that will enable us to promote our exporters, and also with what the ministry is going to add to encouraging people looking for new markets, giving us resources for helping people who are going to develop new markets. I think we are on the right track. So all exporters must take advantage of the Exim Bank, and also for the facility that the Ministry of Trade has made available.
You're watching news, and this is the business segment. On the first trading day of the week on interbank markets, the pound sterling is selling at 5 cedis 25 pesos. The dollar is also selling at 3 cedis 98 pesos, and the euro at 4 cedis 40 pesos. Let's have that of gold, cocoa and light crude from the commodities board. This segment was brought to you by Airtel and Ernest Chemist. Coming up is insurance news. In insurance news, in every profession, there are professional jargons or terms which are best and easily understood by people who are professionals in that field. In the insurance industry, one jargon is an underwriter. GBC24 takes a look at who an insurance underwriter is.
Insurance companies are legal entities that cover the financial impact or part of it that derives from the occurrence of certain unexpected events affecting the insured. They offer this benefit in exchange for payment of a predetermined amount of money called premium. An insurance underwriter evaluates the risk and exposures of potential clients. They decide how much coverage the clients should receive, how much they should pay for it, or whether or not to accept the risk and insure them. An underwriter is a professional that has the ability to understand the risk to which the underwritten object is exposed to. The ability is gained not only through theoretical study, but is also the result of years of experience dealing with similar risks and paying claims on those risks. The director for the Ghana Insurance College, Mr. Justice Ofori, said an underwriter is to protect the insurance company from acquiring non-profitable business.
There are some risks that can be very risky,
but the insurance company can decide to accept the risk and come out with policy conditions that will make the risk a good business. For example, there's someone in your house who has been convicted of drunk driving in the past, and you are going for insurance. The insurance underwriter knowing, let's say a husband and a wife, the husband has been convicted of drunk driving in the past. The insurance company knowing this can say that, yeah, we can provide you with insurance coverage, but your husband is an excluded driver on the policy. So we'll give you insurance, but should your husband drive the vehicle and there's a loss or an accident, we will not pay. So they have added something to the policy to make it an acceptable business. In the first place, they know that you living with your husband, the likelihood of your husband driving the vehicle is high. So to make that risk safe, we come out with a clause.
According to Mr. Justice Ofori, underwriting is considered to be an art and not a science. It is the job of the underwriter to protect the company and at the same time to give the agent an equitable policy which can be sold.
The insurance news was brought to you by SIC Live. Health news is coming up shortly.
Hello, good evening, and many thanks to have you join us on the health segment of the news brought to you by FPAC Blows Your Pain Away. My name is Evans Echampon. A critical illness health plan will soon be introduced by a mutual health insurance under the National Health Insurance Authority. This package covers the cost of treatment for critical conditions such as maternal-related complications, cancer, accident-related cases, heart diseases, and stroke. This report looks at the importance of critical care and the need to find appropriate means of financing it.
The intensive care unit is a special section of the hospital which provides care for patients who are seriously ill or have a life-threatening ailment but are expected to recover and eventually leave the hospital. These patients are attended to by critical care doctors and nurses who practice in settings where patients require complex assessment, high-intensity therapies, and interventions and continuous vigilance. Critically ill patients have life-threatening conditions. They are usually taken care of by specially trained nurses and doctors at the intensive care units.
It's the one-to-one type of nursing, and so you find that one person is exclusively assigned to a patient who does everything for the patient, and it's only a rotating nurse who go there to assist when the need arises.
Admission to the intensive care unit is time-consuming. It is normal for people to want to be with their relatives who have been admitted at the hospital. Since most of the cases admitted at the intensive care unit are not covered by the National Health Insurance Scheme, the financial burden weighs heavily on family members.
I
never envisaged this condition. One can fall sick critically unexpectedly. It could be you or a loved one. If I had enough money, I wouldn't suffer getting treatment.
The situation at the Wa Regional Hospital is different. Treatment for intensive care at this facility is seemingly affordable, but it becomes expensive when the patient is referred to a major facility for treatment. Patients at this hospital are sometimes referred to other hospitals due to lack of life-supporting machines.
We need an intensivist specialist to assist us to take care of these cases. The staff that are handling these cases are not trained personnel. Mostly we rely on the general nurses in the main ward who handle the cases. And ideally we should have critical nurses to handle such cases.
Experts say the best option perhaps is to have an insurance cover which caters for critically ill patients.
On every single one of us is a potential patient in ICU. At the moment in our units, about 70 to 75% of our patients are coming from women who have complications of pregnancy or complications of delivery. We have a national policy of free maternal care. So you may go for antenatal and you do not have to pay for that. So you're not even thinking about the fact that you may incur charge somewhere down the line that is way and above your salary.
The Chief Executive Officer of the National Health Insurance Authority, Mr. Nathaniel Otu, explained that NHIS claims are paid according to diagnosis.
As far as people in critical care fall under the benefits package, they are taken care of under the NHIS. We are in the midst of reviewing the NHIS as a whole, and anything is up for consideration.
The NHIA and management of the Kolebu Teaching Hospital are considering an insurance that will cover critical care. For now, a mutual health scheme under National Health Insurance Authority has come up with a critical care insurance to reduce the emotional and financial burden of critically ill patients and their relatives. It is an annual renewable health policy that provides medical care to the critically ill patients. The insurance will cover patients with conditions like heart attack, stroke, cancer or malignant tumor, urinary bladder cancer, kidney cancer, lung cancer, stomach cancer, endometrium cancer, prostate cancer, liver cancer, ovarian cancer, cervical cancer, breast cancer, renal failure, and major organ transplant.
Currently, the incidence of cancers, surgical issues, emergencies, they keep coming up. And unfortunately, sometimes people don't have the means to deal with such things. So we came up with what we call the Liberty Critical Illness Health Plan to be able to identify and then deal with such situations. The ordinary Ghanaian should pay between 20 cedis to 60 cedis a year for just up to 10,000 cedis of hospital care relating to critical situations.
It is the wish of every human being to be healthy. However, since everyone is a potential patient of the intensive care unit, the call is for everyone to consider means of financing critical care in the country.
And that does it for the segment tonight, brought to you by FPAC. News are returned shortly after this break. Stay tuned.
An update from happenings in the world of sports. I'm Theophilus Sampa. To pugilism, the WBC World Junior Featherweight Champion Isaac Dogbe has promised to give Ghana a world title in the shortest possible time. Dogbe revealed this after presenting his titles to the Youth and Sports Minister Nilante van der Poel in Accra. On the 27th of August this year, Isaac Dogbe recorded a unanimous decision win over Filipino featherweight champion Neil John Tabanao. The bout, according to connoisseurs of the sport, was one of the biggest tests of his career after he was taken to 12 rounds. 2 weeks after his win, Team Dogbe have paid a courtesy call on the Youth and Sports Minister Nilante van der Poel. It was to officially present the title to him and inform him about his preparations for his next bout.
It's good that you had a very tough opponent that brought something out of you. That will tell you that you have more work to do in order to become the real champion like the Azuma Nelson and I Quartes. Every Ghanaian champion have had tough fights, and the toughness of those opponents bring the best out of them. So this should spur you on, and I'm very happy for one thing, your determination to succeed.
We are not going to rest on our hours, but then we hope to plunge into serious training, preparing for the next bout. Now that he's won this, he is expected to be ranked number 5 by the WBO and then climb the ladder with the other bodies, probably that of the WBC.
I want to say thank you to Honorable Neil van der Poel, for receiving us and all the honorables here. I also want to say a big thank you to our Excellency John Mahama, for his firm support. World Youth title has never been fought in Africa before, so this is a record on its own.
With the victory, Isaac Dogbe has added the vacant WBC World Junior Featherweight and Tabanao's Asia Oriental title to the WBO Africa Featherweight belt he already held. Dogbe is expected to mount the ring again in December for a possible elimination as he chases the world title. The weekend saw loads of action and the final round of qualifiers for the 2017 edition of the Africa Cup of Nations will bring you a summary of what really transpired in some countries at the weekend.
For the final African Cup of Nations qualifier,
Ayub Timbe had given Kenya a lead in the 63rd minute, looping the ball past the Russian goalkeeper.
Go in front, they have Mayika beats the defense, beats the goalkeeper. Kenya lead.
The host continued pressing for an equalizer, with Christopher Katongo creating all sorts of problems to the Kenyan side, and his well-timed pass gave Zambia's keeper Rainford Kalaba an easiest of tasks to get the ball past Imuji for an equalizer. It is a 7th draw for the sides after meeting 36 times, with Zambia having the best record of 23 wins and just 6 losses. In Monrovia, horrible goalkeeping and defensive blunders were displayed when Tunisia hammered Liberia 4-1 in a 2017 Africa Cup of Nations qualifier. Wabi Hazri gave the Tunisians a 5-minute lead. The Tunisians increased their tally before the break. Back from recess, Liberia reduced the deficit through striker Peye in the 70th minute. But Tunisia put the game to bed before scoring 2 goals in quick succession to confirm their tickets in December's draw and a trip to Gabon next year. Elsewhere, Zimbabwe lost their final Group L match of the 2017 CAF Africa Cup of Nations to Guinea by 1-0. In the wake of the defeat, the Warriors are set to end their 10-year absence in the tournament, having qualified for the Continental Showpiece with 11 points to their name. Nigeria recorded a hard-fought 1-0 victory over Tanzania. The Manchester City's Kelechi Iheanacho scored the only goal of the game.
And he decides to go for it. And that is Kelechi Iheanacho. That is the young man we were talking about. He went rip with that left foot.
Despite the win, Nigeria will not be part of next year's AFCON in Gabon. Champions Ivory Coast ensured they will defend their title at next year's Africa Cup of Nations after drawing 1-1 at home to Sierra Leone, needing a point to qualify. An acrobatic goal from Jonathan Kojia after 37 minutes calmed home nerves.
Back post opportunity. Oh, lovely shot on the overhead and a magnificent goal, it must be said.
Kai Kamara equalized midway through the second half. Another away goal would have knocked the 2015 Nations Cup winners out, but they held on despite a nervy finish.
Let's trek to the USA now for the ongoing Open Championship, where Rafa Nadal is out of the ongoing US Open.
In the arts segment, a movie titled Mr. India, which is the first ever Ghana-India collaboration, has been premiered at the Global Cinemas in Accra. The 2-hour 30-minute movie is an action drama thriller aimed at educating the Ghanaian society about the cultural balance between India and Ghana.
The movie, Mr. India, tells a story of a Ghanaian young man who traveled to study in India and he fell in love with an Indian girl. He came to Ghana to inform his parents about his plans to marry the Indian. Marriage became difficult for the guy when his childhood friend Baba pops up to contest with the Indian girl. Baba is ready to do anything to win the young man's heart to marry her instead of the Indian. After the premiere, we spoke to the Indian delegation present.
India and Ghana has a very friendly countries, and the government of Ghana providing so many scholarships, so many high-tech programs. So we looking forward that for that more and more Ghanaian people, we will train and we will educate to the Ghanaians so they can take an advantage of this.
The director of the movie, Richard Boateng, spoke to GBC24.
Mr. India is an action drama thriller film that is about 2 hours 30 minutes, almost 2 hours 30 minutes movie for entertainment, education, and to inform our society about the cultural balance or cultural interrelation of both India and Ghana. And it's a movie that has a lot of message to teach that viewers will learn a lot of things from it.
The movie will be screening at the cinemas throughout the month of September.
Thank you for watching News. I was live on GBC24 and GTV. News tonight is at 10:30. Please make a date.